Hello, everybody, and we are back. Welcome to finally a walkthrough of the general text guides with myself, with Erelic Gaming, and it's RJTV. Welcome, my friends. How are you guys doing?
Thank you so much, Tommy. Doing great, my man. It is so awesome that you invited us back today to walk through the text guides. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I just have that song going through my head all day since I knew we were doing this. The boys are back in town. The boys.
That's how it's supposed to be. And for you that are watching, thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you do go and subscribe to all three of the channels. You can find links in the description down below. And you can see on the logos as well if you just want to do a regular YouTube search. And how this works is that we will go through hole by hole, giving you our best advice and tips now before the tournament starts. Have in mind that we have no clue what win we're gonna have, and we are trying to make it as generalized as possible. Matthew is going to talk about what we do from front tee, which is rookie division. RJ is going to talk about what we do from second tee, which is pro and expert division, and me myself are going to talk about what we are going to do from third tee, which is going to be master division. The guides that you see on the screen is free for everyone, so you can get them yourself by going through the link that is in the description down below, or you go to the tournament page on golfclashtournament.com. Have in mind that these guides are free, but they are also general and not adapted to the wind that we are having in the tournament. So I think we're just going to jump in on hole number one. Matthew, are you ready? Front tee, what do we
Let's
do?
do it. Let's do it, Tommy. Yeah, hole number one. I know this hole. You can play it so many different ways, right? So to me, in rookie, I like to take a safe path that I feel is repeatable all the time, and that's following the black line. I like to go through the trees here. I like to use a katana ball. I know you've got the katana or Titan, but I think a katana works really well because that side spin three for me. I like to give it like max top, max left, and basically what I'm doing is the second bounce is going to be just through the large gap in the trees. And you'll actually see when you're looking at this hole, there's three little bushes that form a little bit of a straight line. And I like the ball guide to go directly over those bushes with the second bounce in the rough, just so that you're going to basically play this shot as like a second bounce rough bump out into the fairway. I know it sounds a bit ridiculous, but watch Tommy do this one. You adjust it at 20% max. And once you do that, you'll find yourself with a perfect straight long iron shot to the green. And I basically line it up with a little bounce. You see where the fourth black box is just before the green. I like to bounce there and up directly to the pin. Now, if we have crosswind, you might need to use like about a bar of topspin. And if you've got tailwind, you might need a little bit less. Basically, ball guide straight to the pin. I adjust at 10% max. And you know what? I think this is a consistent way to play it from rookie. Depending on your clubs, maybe you're going to play it RJ style. How are you going to play hole number one, RJ?
I got three ways, and you nailed the first way. I completely agree. That is an excellent way. And I love how precise you were about going over those bushes. I didn't even think about that. Like finding that reference point. I just think reference points make things so much, make so much sense. Take out the unknowns. But then also there's another shot if we have a tailwind on the right hand side, depending on whether you're in rookie or whether you're an expert, how what type of wind we have, whether it's a straight tailwind or if it's more of a side wind with a little tailwind. You might need a Titan, or you might even end up needing a Berserker, but you could just do full overpower, depending on your clubs, full or close to full top spin. And then that'll give you like a short iron, I believe,
Yeah.
to the pin. But then Tommy surprised us with the last time we had this hole with a quarterback shot. Quarterback because it's super accurate and a great ball guide where you just try to roll up by those two sand traps, and the ball kind of rolls back just a little bit, so it's like you're almost perfectly in the same spot. and then you just dial it in with a sniper to the pin. There's a funnel if you go that way, and all three, again, 10%, just like you said on that second shot. All three are viable, and I just think it's so cool to have three different shots, two of the different shots for different wins, and you really don't have to jump through hoops on these. They're all straightforward. What do you got, Tommy, in
Yeah,
Masters?
here we're going to play two ways basically. We're gonna play either the blue line, which RJ just explained here, and that was rolling towards those two sand traps that is in the center there. Then we use a sniper using a backspin shot towards the pin, trying to catch that funnel. But we can also do somewhat like an in-between way between the blue line and the black line. That is trying to curl the ball down to get to the third black marker, which you can see that is on the left side of those red trees, I think we can call it. Maybe some, dark red trees or whatever. And from there we can then have a long iron funnel play instead of the sniper funnel play that we do have there from the bunker. So two ways basically. I'm going to completely ignore the white line in master, as playing straightforward or a little bit to the left makes us being able to play with yardage notes. Playing straightforward on the right there is not really gonna make it a linear way. It's gonna make it tougher to get that shot dropped in. Regardless of what win we're gonna have in the tournament, this is going to be an absolute must eagle. So for hole number 2, a very interesting par 3 that was a long time we played it, but there is a nice line that we're gonna hear about, I hope. Matthew, how will we play from front tee?
From the front tee here, I definitely think you should bring a spin 3 ball because I want to play that white line, or Tommy, because I think there's that funnel, the rough bump funnel play that it really, really works. So I go max right and a couple of bars of topspin in headwind and a couple of bars of backspin, depending with that tailwind. You kind of have to work with it. Now, Tommy was just really pointing out something that's really important for everyone to know. If you have a right to left wind, you have to make sure that you're going to have to use right curl. Or in that situation, I would think it's actually best to follow the black line and just go directly at the hole. So it depends on your clubs and your balls, your skill level. Maybe you're going to use a side spin 4 or 5 ball. That's an option, but I just think go for the rough bump in all winds besides right to left. In that case, I think we're just going to go directly at it. 30% is the elevation here, maximum distance. Check for that funnel. I think you're going to have a good time here. How do you play it, RJ? Second tee.
You stole my thunder.
Sorry.
I'm basically going to say the same exact thing you said, that there is a quarterback rough bump that I like a lot, and it really dials in, especially with the right types of wind. And then also, if that is not an option, or if you're not liking the rough bump, there is also a sniper regular shot that you could take right before the sand and a little bit to the left of the sand, and it's really ball guide to pin with 30%. And basically everything Erelic says goes for expert and pro as well. What about you, Tommy? I know these tees are offset. It shouldn't be that way, but it kind of seems like it is.
Yeah, first and foremost, I think you meant the sniper rough bump from second tee, right? The quarterback is going to be for us big boys in Master when we do play with quarterback or the rock. We're going to play a rough bump regardless what wind we're going to have here because of that massive funnel. Obviously, the spin setup will look a little bit differently, and as you see on the tee boxes, the master tee is located as a lot to the left compared to the other tee boxes, which will give us a very nice angle, and we do not really need a side spin 3 ball here, and should be able to use a wind 5 ball and really dial that one in. Every single time we've had this one in a tournament, it has been an absolute must drop. The shot has been dropping with great left, great right, and perfect. So it has been a really safe hole in one, to be honest. And just as an extra thing, I dropped this one with a massive great left at Playdemic's office, which was the last time we actually played this hole in the tournament. Headwind we play with the rock, as quarterback will most likely go in between club. But that's basically the only thing here. Rough bump all the way, take that hole in one, otherwise you will definitely be in a disadvantage towards your opponent playing in Master. So for hole number 3, we get our first par 5. Matthew, how do we attack hole 3 from front tee?
Well, for the front tee, I think this is a great hole. To try to get an albatross, I would come in here just like Tommy taught me with the quarterback, and I'm going to set it up. Basically, you know where that first little black box is? I'm pointing on my monitor, but you look on your notes, okay? And I'm going to give it max left spin and probably max top spin, depending on the level of quarterback you have. I think like 3 or 4 bars. What do you say? Maybe up to 5 in the notes there, but not too much. Just be careful. You can roll into the rough at the end. Adjust the shot at 10% max, and essentially you're going to want to end up where that second black box is. So play according to the wind and make it land there, so that for your second shot, I'm just going to follow that black line with a Viper or probably a Sniper if you've got one. You're going to land where that third black box is and roll up to the hole. Crosswind, no spin really needed. Tailwind, maybe one back. Headwind, half to a bar of top spin. I just want everyone to remember that that green slopes a little bit from right to left. So keep that in mind. You may need to use a little bit of right spin depending on the wind. Otherwise, this is a really great chance from the front tee. RJ, what's your plan for Alba, brother?
Actually, I'm going on the opposite side. The white line, with some sort of tailwind, you should be able to bounce over. I guess we'd call it the stream or whatnot. With a power club, your extra mile, Thor's hammer, Apocalypse, something like that, and then if you have enough topspin on that club, you should be able to get into long iron or possibly even short iron to the pin. 10% on the first shot, 0% on the second shot. But if we do have a headwind, I completely agree with what Matthew just said. Going on the right side, don't risk, going into the water or trickling, having to hope for a trickle out onto the green type shot. But either way you go, it's going to be 0% on the second shot. What do you got?
Yes, from the 30, we will be playing most likely the black line, and the reason for that is that we can use yardage notes. Playing straightforward, it's a linear hole, and we can then use that to be in our favor. The second shot can be either just a bounce over shot, as Matthew and RJ explained, but it can also be a rough bump, which is not lined out, but it's a rough bump there by the green area, which takes away somewhat most of the effect of the ball after the first bounce. If we do have a tailwind, we will, like a straight tailwind more or less, we would have a very good chance to actually get to green areas. We will, with a wind 0 or wind 1 ball with power 5, be able to reach far up on that, even reaching over the water to hit that next fairway that is after the second black box. And from there we can use the top spin to bounce over, and with a little luck we are by the green area. And I think that's obviously going to be the play with tailwind. It's going to be boring if that's going to be the wind that we get in the tournament, but it's going to be opportunity. The thing that I would say though, this hole is most likely going to come down to a very, very good chance that if you do hit perfect, that it will most likely drop, as I feel on almost every hole here in Master. So for hole number 4, we get another par 3. Sunshine Glades is what we're looking at here. Matthew, how do we play from front tee?
From the front tee, I know that there's that rough bump. I've never played it from rookie because I don't think that it's as easy, really. I like to bounce it on the black line. I bring a Marlin and a Sniper. It seems to work really good. I don't really use any spin in crosswind. I just basically have the second bounce just before the fringe is sort of where I line it up, especially if you have like that Sniper 6 or lower and you don't have the full ball guide. You know what I mean? Maybe use a bar and a half of backspin if we've got that strong tailwind. You might need a little bit of top spin if you have a headwind. And basically just going to adjust this one at 10%. And it really should be a pretty straightforward opportunity most of the time.
Yeah, I go with 10%, or what I like to say even better, on this particular hole is a 1-to-1 shot, if you understand the wind ring system. It's generally a no spin shot. You can just kind of line up right where that black box is and aim it right at the pin. Again, just like Matthew said, there is a rough bump, but it's a little too thin for my nerves. But there's definitely, anytime there's a rough bump, it seems like it's a shot that you could dial in. So if you have the courage for that and you could hit perfect, go for it. But me personally, I think no matter what, I'm going to be taking the black line.
So, from 30, I would say that the rough bump is definitely an option. However, though, the last couple of times we have not played the rough bump due to its inconsistency. I've been very hard to find a good line there. But I'm not going to rule that out because it is wind dependent. And as the wind will change in the tournament from qualifying to the opening round, then definitely going to be something that I do believe many players will look into bring in, because the beauty obviously with a rough bump is that you take away most of the effect after the first bounce, and therefore can be an easier adjustment for you. But the normal way of playing is using the pad. We play with a driver mainly, like a quarterback, or with the rock. If we do have a straight tailwind, it's gonna be close to be in between clubs when it comes to going with driver there, so have that in mind. But otherwise, this will, as the first 3 holes, be a really good opportunity for an extra drop. So we have hole number 5, the second of the par 5s course from, or like a hole from the course of Eagle Peak. Matthew, how do we play hole number 5 from front tee?
Hole 5, par 5. It just feels good, right? Navigator, you could get away with if you've got a good wind. I typically bring a Titan ball here if I'm able to. I like to use overpower with the big topper and try to land on that second black square. Probably not the most responsible play. You probably want to land on the first black square with maximum topspin. And remember, the second fairway slopes strongly from right to left. So you're going to want to use at least 1 bar of right spin, maybe 2 bars of right spin with that max topspin. You can definitely bring, an extra mile here. You're not going to have as long of a drive. So bring that extra big topper, max topspin, 0% on the drive. And then the second shot, depending on the length of your drive, you're going to want to bring a club with backspin, your Guardian or your Saturn. I like to try to use maximum backspin if I can, depending on that drive, so that I can basically play the slope at the back of the green. The green does slope quite a bit at the back, so you can kind of come in a little hot if you want, and basically roll it back to the pin. Depending on your drive, it's everything really. Try to find a consistent drive and then work from there as always, right? So yeah, basically this is kind of one of those par 5s that I think can really benefit from having the extra power in the drive. Longer ball, longer clubs gives you a better chance for that second shot. RJ, come on, baby, give me that albatross here.
Yeah, actually, I have hit the albatross on this a couple times. Um, Obviously, not following my own notes, but yeah, basically, you just bounce over. That's the way I generally like to do it. Bring your long club with extra mile APOC, Thor's hammer. I generally like to set up with a lot of top spin, and I go with as much right spin as possible to also be able to set up, and not have to worry about it going into the rough on the right hand side. You want to get as close to the rough on the right hand side as you're comfortably able to. Do not ruin your shot because you wanted to stay so close to the right, but it's better to be up higher than it is for your ball to be closer to the left side, in my opinion. That'll leave you with a sniper shot, and you could use a sniper if you got one with at least 6 bars of backspin. However, if you don't, a Guardian would also be a great club to use here. You're going to want your ball guide to actually be on on the left side of the cup and going past the hole, because as Matthew just said, there's also a slope behind the cup. So this is going to sound a little confusing, but when you see it played, it'll make a little bit more sense. Get that bounce on the green, and then with the backspin, your ball guide is going to show you're almost kind of like riding up by the fringe, and then the ball guide will come back down towards the hole. If you find the sweet spot there, it will drop. It can be infuriating because, with different winds, it may look like it's supposed to drop and it may not. And you need to be careful also with a tailwind because if you have a tailwind and your ball guide is set up to where it's riding right by the rough in the back, we all know wind extends ball guides, so you're going to want to be more careful there. However, definitely an albatross opportunity. Whether or not it drops a lot this tournament is yet to be seen. But I love those shots where you kind of have the ball guide going past the pin and then rolling back down into the pin. At the very worst, you're going to have a short putt. 10% on your second shot, no elevation for the first shot is what I have. What do you got, Tommy?
Yeah, from Master T or third T, we will, with us, your more or less direct tailwind, we will go full bananas with that ride, trying to reach as far down possible, trying to actually get past even the last of the black boxes, even over that final piece of rough, finding yourself with a short iron towards the pin. I remember a long time when we had this one, I think the first time almost, we actually could play that shot. Then I was too crappy with my short irons. I never really dropped that shot, which was really bad considering how it is today. But if we do have a crosswind or a headwind, we are looking to bounce over the rough and gain as much distance possible. One thing to have in mind, and now again I go by memory from the last time we had this one, we had a direct headwind. Then I played a reversed power hook, which also I made, unfortunately, a power slice out of that one and went out of bounds, which is up on the channel as well. That was probably one of my worst shots I've ever done in the game, which was funny though, now looking back to it. So, if we do have crosswind or headwind, we try to bounce over. Be careful about the left side, because if you roll into rough or sand, and if you are having a headwind, you're dead. You're not gonna reach from there. But with crosswind, you may, if you do have like a good power ball. But if we end up on the fairway as planned, we do have most likely a guardian shot. That was the way we played it the last time, and that was actually absolutely money from third tee, by using the green squares as reference method when setting up that type of shot. And remember, that was actually a pretty nice shot. But we'll see what wind we're gonna have. Left side is just to confuse you and fool you. There's no point in playing left side whatsoever, in my opinion, here from third tee. So for hole number 6, we come to a very interesting hole, as we just actually briefly spoke about. In tailwind interesting, headwind also interesting in a different way. So Matthew, how do we play hole 6 from front tee?
Tommy, you basically obviously nailed it. The way it is, headwind, you're going to basically try to have to play this. You're going to have to play this hole conservatively. I mean, I would. I'm going to use the extra mile and a Titan, probably no matter what here. And I'm going to basically, if there's a headwind, I'm going to try to just bounce it where the first black square is with max top, max left, and just kind of curl it around those trees in the center of the fairway. And that's going to leave me somewhere near where the second black box is. And from there, you're going to have like a short iron club. You can bring your thorn, but really it's not going to matter. It's a really hard shot. Try it at about 30% elevation. I don't know. If you can sink that shot, please send it to me. I want to check it out. But if you have any kind of tailwind, I think this is a really fun hole that can actually make or break the tournament for many people. If you've got tailwind, I like to set it up with my, yellow ring kind of cutting the rough on the left, right where that first black box is. Max top. And I'm going to basically not use max left spin at that point. I might actually use like a bar of right spin, and I'm going to adjust for the wind, and then I'm going to push it back to max. And then I'm probably going to end up using mostly maximum overpower. And the idea is here that you're going to bounce where the second black square is, and you can roll down the hill and get it down right near the green. Some people might even make it to the green. So to me, this is a really fun hole if you've got the tailwind. RJ, what's the plan, brother, from the second tee?
Exactly as you stated once again. That black line is not fun. It's the drive, okay, whatever, it's kind of technical, I guess, with the curl and the side spin. However, trying to get it in the hole from there, you're so close. You're like, you feel like it should go in the hole, or at least you should have that opportunity. But with a 30 something percent shot, the elevation difference, there's just no consistency, and it's automatically a birdie par four. However, if we do have any type of tailwind, there is that white line hook shot. I don't think a Thor's hammer would be smart here. If you have an APOC, that would probably be your best bet in almost any level. Please, Tommy, correct me if I'm wrong with the APOC level 1 or 2. But generally, rolling down that slope and either, as Matthew said, getting that short wedge, or even better, possibly getting on the green and having a putt, it just feels so satisfying. So hopefully we do get that shot, even if we end up seeing minus 50s for the first time with this tournament. I feel that is a must, because the layup is no fun. What do you got, Tommy?
Yeah, I can just obviously you guys have said everything really, and that's the same in Master. And crosswind, you're going to benefit a lot if you do have an Apocalypse level 7 plus, because then you can use that topspin and actually get the ball to roll down the hill for somewhat like close to a max distance wedge, which we have played one time before, which again is going to be a must drop if you get it down there. But if you do have an APOC 6 or 5, you will not reach down, because you will not have topspin enough, and that is only in crosswind. Tailwind, we're gonna use a Wind 0 Wind 1 ball together with Power 5 and just play a normal power shot using a little bit of backspin, just controlling the ball's pace down towards the green area and getting up to the top of the green to let it fall down. There is no possibility to have an hole in one in that way, but it will give you a short putt and a safe eagle. Headwind, we have no chance whatsoever to get the ball down there, and we're going to actually have to think about what we're gonna do. We need to if we're going to have a shot at pin, due to that bunker that is standing just before the pin, means that the right side is gonna be gone if we are trying to attack the pin from the right side of fairway, meaning that we are going to have to lay up in headwind. So we're going to have to try to get the ball past the trees that is in the center on the first fairway on the left, trying to have an open shot with most likely a long iron or a max distance short iron towards the pin, depending on how far you reach. So headwind, this is going to be difficult, and it's going to be not fun at all. And as we have talked, all three of us, it's like, this is one of these holes where, sure, it's fun with a challenge, but laying up here brings just such an enormous inconsistency that it takes away the fun actually trying to get that shot to drop. So let's hope for some crosswind or tailwind in generally on this hole in Master, at least in my opinion. So for hole number 7, we're gonna come to one of my least favorite par 3s, which I'm gonna explain when it's my turn. So Matthew, how do we play hole number 7 from front tee?
I'm glad you said that, Tommy. I think it's kind of a tough one to me here. You definitely, in my opinion, from the front tee, I like to bring a Quasar or actually a Katana ball, because that extra right spin means that I can set up a little more safely. I definitely play near the black box, maybe a little bit back, like between the black and the white box is kind of where I tend to set up. But ultimately, what you want to do is use enough backspin on this shot and maximum right spin so that you're not going to roll way past the pin, because the back of the screen, instead of having a catchment like the other ones that we've talked about, this one actually rolls away from you, and you can really lose that ball going way past the pin. So be aware of that, and essentially just use backspin and right spin with your Sniper or Viper club. Adjust this shot 20% max. And if you do have wind that's coming in from right to left, you may need to use a little bit of right curl here as well. Otherwise, this is kind of a tough par 3 for me. Maybe you guys can shed some light on it.
It's called Sunshine Glades, but I think it should be called make sure there's a case on your phone Glades, because I don't know if you could see that crack right there. What happens here is you set up with the with a kingmaker and a sniper, usually in a shootout when you don't have enough money to lose, and and you're right at the pin, and the ball just rolls so far past it that you either can't make the putt or you go into the rough. So with a kingmaker, make sure that you have at least 5.5 backspin, which isn't really asking that much for a sniper. 20%, generally around full right spin, and the ball guide just trickling off the fringe onto the green. It's not necessarily going to be a money shot for a hole in one, but in my opinion, if you can have a manageable putt here, you're doing pretty good. Just when you watch your ball just slowly roll off, don't go past the hole. That just don't go. Tommy, what do you got?
Yeah, from 30 we have played a bunch of different type of no movement shots on this one using the white line over the bunker. The thing to yeah that has happened with all of them is that we are absolutely playing a little bit with fire with that little glitch that is there just on the green, which we're gonna catch sometimes, which we are not gonna catch sometimes, which obviously makes it really difficult to dial this shot in completely. There has been plays that we move even a little bit more right than what the first where the white box is, and you know that wasn't consistent either. And then obviously we do have the left side where we'll most likely going to have to go with some curl if we're going to get that play, and curl obviously is also inconsistent to use. So it's somewhat like regardless on how we play here, I don't think we will find a line that's going to give us everything that we're looking for. So we're just gonna have to choose what we feel comfortable with and go with that. It's gonna be a driver play towards the pin regardless of what wind, and in Master we play with a wind 5 ball on the par 3 spot. You know, could be the one of these situations where we might play with a win 4 ball instead, just to save on the win 5 balls if we cannot find a proper line. But, you know, it's Master. Of course we're gonna find a proper line, right? So, hole number 8, ladies and gentlemen, the last of the par 4. That's a Sunshine Glade. So, Matthew, how will we play hole 8 from front tee?
If you ask me, I'm taking the black line all day and every day. I know some people, they're going to go for the green. Please go for the green. If that's what works for you, I have nothing against that whatsoever. But I'm all about using a Titan and an extra mile here. You could use a big topper, but hitting that little island, I feel like the accuracy of the extra mile works more for me. Max top, max left, like about 5 top spin is more than enough if you're using a higher level EM. But 4.5 bars of top spin, perfect here. And you just want to make sure between that blue box and the second black box, there's that bunker. There's a bunker on the third fairway. Just be careful of that. You might need to use a little bit of left curl here. The idea is we want to roll up and have our ball after the drive landing on the second black square. And from that position, now you have a choice to make. The green here, I think, is pretty crappy. It's pretty undulous and bumpy, and I haven't had a lot of luck with using my wedge shot here. Hey, maybe it'll be good for you. I don't know. But I'm going to probably go for the famous Tommy dunk on this hole. Thorn club, going to be probably played in minimum distance, 0%, max backspin, aim for the back of the cup. And yeah, it's pretty exciting when you get it to drop. RJ, what's your plan coming in here to this interesting par 4?
Completely in agreement with you. We got that second fairway, I like to call it. It's like a little pad of a fairway there. It's just, in my opinion, so important to be able to hit there. So, I mean, if we're facing a headwind, but you do have a club that is just short or something, go ahead and put the power 5 ball in, or a power 4 ball if you have it, just to be sure that you can hit that pad. I don't like the double bounce over, especially with the sand on the right hand side. And as Matthew said, be so careful by the sand. Because you need to roll past the trees. And also, it's just always nicer to be on the fairway than it is to have a Nirvana shot, or a Malibu shot, or whatever you might have. Then you're sitting there literally at wedge, or at worst short iron range to pin. You're like, oh my God, I'm going to get an eagle. Well, not so fast. You need to know how to dunk, because the green is basically if you just take a piece of paper and crumple it up, and yeah, it's bad. So you might get lucky and be able to hit it in if you don't like dunking. There is that possibility you could hit the pole and something crazy could happen. But I truly feel the dunk is the safest way to go. What do you got, Tommy?
Yeah, interesting, I may say. We have only played this hole in Master with Tailwind. So the only thing that we have done here is to go for green. So any other type of option is going to be very interesting to explore. And as we're going to have 3 different wins in the tournament in Master nowadays, we are obviously not going to get Tailwind all the time. That would be weird in my opinion. But in Tailwind, we go for green, trying to bounce on the final fairway, bounce into the rough and roll out on the green, or to just bounce over the rough and just stay somewhat on the fairway or on the green in some shape or form. Trying to avoid that final, like that little pad that is on the top right of the picture, because that is not as consistent as it looks. Because if you hit too far up, then you get a very flat bounce, and then the water is definitely in play, and that would be so unnecessary to get there. If we do have crosswind, I will try to bounce on the second pad over, try to follow the black line, go for a dunk. And if we do have a headwind, we will not be able to reach that far. So then we're going to have to lay up and most likely go with the white line. And I think that's going to be just a weird shot with all the bumpiness on the green, to be honest. And it's going to most likely be a wood club shot or like a long iron shot in max distance or something like that. I've never played it that way, but I'm just speculating, as I know with a direct headwind we are not able to reach to having our first bounce as the black line is showing there, regardless of what type of power ball we are using in Masters. So this one could be really tough, but it could also be really simple, basically like hole number 6. So for the last hole here today, we have hole number 9, par 5, as usual a par 5. Eagle Peak is the name of the course. Matthew, how do we play hole number 9 from front tee?
From the front tee, I feel like we have it the easiest. If we have a headwind, I'm going to consider maybe possibly bring in a power 5 ball, because I really just want to play this black line each and every time. If we have crosswind or tailwind, tighten, extra mile, max top, 1 to 2 bars of right spin. We're going to bounce where that first black square is, up over the rough and down to that second fairway. Now, you adjust this drive at 20% max, and you're going to have to use, except in the most perfect of tailwinds, well, even then, at probably about a 25% overpower, you're going to have to really just gauge how much overpower you're going to need here to make this shot. And then the second shot, assuming you can roll up somewhere close to that second black box, then I'm going to come in with a rough bump here. Now, we're just talking before we recorded this hole, and Tommy's saying we should be playing this second shot at negative 10% max. And I know that I used myself when I dropped this with about 3 bars of topspin, and I think I had like the clear ring of the sniper up near the top of the rough line. So take a look here. This is a good one from the first tee, but I think RJ might have it a little tougher from the second. Talk to me, buddy. What do you got?
I really do like that black line. And as long as we don't get headwind, we should have at least an expert. We should definitely have the ability, to be able to double bounce over and get up. It depends how far up you can get on whether you have a Thor's Hammer level 7 as your best club or something like an Extra Mile level 7, which would limit you a little bit more. And maybe in some side winds, you might be forced to use the white line. But I really do think that the black line is the preferred way to go. 20% on that drive. And it's a full topspin shot, in my opinion. Heck, even, well, I don't know. I was about to say something about the big topper, but I'll walk away from that. Anyway, you're going to want to bring your sniper as well. And then just like Matthew said, we're looking at about 10%. You could either bounce over or 10% under, not 10% over. Yeah, 10% uphill. But you could either bounce over where like that white box is and, kind of line it up because you got such an awesome ball guide with that club, or you could do a rough bump. However, if you do have to go to the right side, I would probably bring a power club and just make sure. I don't want to give numbers on top spin and stuff because you need to get as close to the top of that green as possible without rolling into the rough. And then there's either, I remember having to use the right side. There's either the reason why Tommy's lines fork off like that, if I'm not mistaken, is because there's like two rows of trees that are almost in a row, and you could actually just go right through that roll. Or if that shot's not available to you, you see it, you would have to put a lot of curl on your next shot as well. So that's two ways to play it. And I think either one of them's pretty good. But this isn't really an albatross hole unless you can get the black line. What do you got, Tommy?
Yeah, basically the same thing here. The only thing we need to think about here from 30 is like if we do have a tailwind, we can do use the wind in our favor and basically do a single bounce over to the that fairway where we have the second black box. If we do have a crosswind, we do a double bounce over. Minor headwind, that's a possibility. Direct headwind, we need to play white line, just lay up. And if we play white line and just lay up, we are going to play that just purely for an eagle, in my opinion. At least as a, general thinking on that one. If we reach over as the black line there, we have a sniper, rough bump to pin, minus 10% elevation, drive is 20% elevation, and it's going to be, in that case, a decent chance, I may say, for a drop here on this. I would say... yeah, again, it's one of the holes, like the same on many of the Eagle Peaks here, where, a tailwind or a crosswind is going to be okay, we're going to have a fun time. Headwind is just going to be a crap time, really, and that's going to be extremely tough. So we'll see what we do get as wind in the tournament here for hole 9. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this walkthrough of the text guide. It's so amazing to be back. Hopefully we can keep this up as well for the upcoming tournament. We'll see about that, obviously. I'm very interesting to hear now as a final thought, Matthew, what do you think the score is going to be to win in Rookie Division in the weekend round?
Well, Rookie these days, I mean, most players are coming in with an APOC 7, so I'd say you're probably going to need like a 32. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, I think like a 14 under per 9 holes should get you to the weekend. You're probably going to need... like, there's so many drops, right? Like, it's anybody's guess how that win plays out. I'm going to go with an even minus 29 in most brackets for the win. But I think it's really going to vary, from bracket to bracket.
What do you think then, RJ, for the score in Pro? And like, obviously you have two divisions, but like, just as what would be, a good score from second tee?
Oh God, I don't know. I think Matthew was saying something about having a lucky shirt, so I tried to get the
you're
closest
looking
one
good, buddy.
could. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I want to be conservative here. I think they're going to give us tougher wins. That's the only thing that makes sense. So I would say a minus 56
these days,
make
right?
To make it to the weekend. But if you want a banner, just this, minus 56.
It's gonna be a lot of drops, I do believe. Second and third tee, personally think it's gonna be, it's gonna be a tournament where you're gonna have to feel that, okay, we're gonna have to drop somewhat, most of it, and we're gonna see a lot of really good scores. I think Master obviously is win dependent on certain holes, but most of them is going to be shots that going to have to drop. Like, it's hole 1 and hole 2 is most likely going to be must drops, and I think the hole 3 is somewhat going to be the same. So the start is going to be everything. I think if you're going to lose a shot, it's going to be on hole 5, or it's going to be if you are doing a really bad drive on hole 8 or hole 9, like going into the water on hole 8 or hole 9 getting stuck into the rough. But other than that, I think this is going to be... I do think that if they give us tailwind on hole 5, then I do think that... and also maybe on hole 3 as well. But then I do think we can see a minus 40 in the weekend round in Master, even though we do have different ways. Sure, minus 40 is not easy to score, but with the quality of players in Master nowadays, and having some people having, you know, 5, 6, 7, or even 10, 12, 14 accounts, then you're gonna get dialed in and you're gonna play really well on these holes here. But we'll see, obviously. And, you know, guys, thank you so much for participating.
You know,
what? Oh,
I'm sorry.
oh.
I just think it's so important. I kind of misjudged a little there. I said a minus 56. I completely forgot about hole 7. Minus 32.
Oh, yeah, okay. So it's gonna drop 24 shots. That's nice. Like the. Okay, nice, boys. Thank you so much. I had a blast, and I hope to see you again next time. And for those of you that are watching, make sure you hit thumbs up on the video. And also, if you want to get the general text guides, which is totally for free, just check the link in the description down below or on the website golfclashtommy.com. Once again, thank you so much, everybody, and have a great day. Bye bye now. Bye bye.